Welcome to our Bible study focused on Genesis 17, 1-8, where we explore the everlasting covenant of God with Abraham. This study promises to deepen your understanding of faith and commitment. Together, we delve into the profound events of Genesis 17, 1-8, where God appears to Abraham as El Shaddai, initiating a covenant that promises land and descendants. This study is a cornerstone of God's redemptive plan. Our study aims to enhance appreciation of God's covenant faithfulness, recognizing His self-revelation as El Shaddai, understanding the significance of name changes, and encouraging trust in God's unchanging nature. We begin with a prayer, thanking God for His sufficiency and faithfulness. We ask for strength to walk blamelessly before Him, trusting in His promises and seeking His guidance throughout this study. Genesis 17, 1-8 is set during the patriarchal period, offering insights into God's covenant with Abraham. Understanding the historical backdrop enriches our comprehension of these pivotal events. We examine the events surrounding Genesis 17, 1-8, including traditional and apocryphal narratives. These stories provide context and deepen our understanding of God's covenant with Abraham. Let's read Genesis 17, 1-8, where God appears to Abraham, promising to multiply his descendants and establish an everlasting covenant. This passage is foundational to our study. We highlight key points from Genesis 17, 1-8, focusing on God's appearance as El Shaddai, the covenant of multiplication, and the promise of nations and kings. These elements are central to understanding God's plan. God reaffirms His covenant with Abraham, promising to multiply his descendants. This promise underscores God's faithfulness and the importance of obedience in fulfilling His covenant. The name change from Abram to Abraham signifies the fulfillment of God's promise. It represents a new identity and purpose, highlighting the transformative power of God's covenant. God's covenant with Abraham includes the promise of land as an everlasting possession. This relational aspect emphasizes God's enduring commitment to His people. We discuss God's self-revelation as El Shaddai and the command to walk blamelessly. This conversation explores the nature of God's promises and our response to His faithfulness. The change from Abram to Abraham reflects God's promise of a multitude of nations. This transformation is symbolic of God's covenant and His plan for Abraham's descendants. God's promise of an everlasting covenant emphasizes His unchanging nature and commitment to His people. This covenant is central to understanding God's relationship with humanity. Reflecting on Genesis 17, 1-8, we consider how God's covenant faithfulness applies to our lives today. This passage invites us to trust in His promises and embrace our identity in Him. Dr. Michael A.'s poem, The God Who Sees in the Wilderness, captures the essence of God's faithfulness and presence in our lives. Inspired by the themes of Genesis 17, 1-8, Genesis 17, 1-8 is a profound declaration of God's covenant faithfulness, promising land and descendants to Abraham. This passage invites us to trust in God's enduring promises. We close with a prayer, thanking God for His everlasting covenant and faithfulness. We ask for strength to trust in His promises and to walk blamelessly in His sight, guided by His love and grace.